See, let's make sure we're all up and running. Coolio. So, made a decision earlier. Normally what I would do on a Thursday is I would do can't even think. Don't be annoying. Yeah, what I would normally do on a Thursday is a time lapse. I wouldn't normally stream on a Thursday, but I've made an executive decision. Because I've done a lot of drawing this week, sketchbook type drawings like in my black book. So where are we? So these kinds I did. Where are we? So I did that yesterday. I did a sketchbook drawing on Tuesday. I did all the stuff on Monday. So with a Monday stream and a black book stream, I've done a lot of that type of drawing this week. I actually did this graffiti stuff on Monday. And I've said before that I want to really try and get some more graffiti stuff going, specifically dedicated to one of the time-lapse streams will be dedicated to that, and I feel like I haven't done enough. So I've decided that instead of a live stream today, I'm going to be catching up more on the graffiti side to improve it, because I normally do live streams. Excuse me. Also, I normally do sketchbooks Tuesday and Thursday, but I didn't want every single live stream day, so a Thursday and a Tuesday. I didn't want them all to be normal sketchbook drawings. I thought I do want to go back and make more graffiti live time lapses. So I thought instead of posting the time lapse, I'm going to carry on improving my graffiti stuff, because I just don't feel like I'm doing enough of it at the minute. So I think what I'm going to do is on a Thursday, until I'm ready to start doing the graffiti stuff again, I'm going to dedicate the Thursday time-lapse slot to a graffiti, drawing graffiti stuff. So I get at the very least 1 to 2 a week doing this. And what I did last time was, so I did that kind of stuff. So that's what I did last time, and I thought it was a really productive session. So I thought I just really want to carry on with it, to be honest. I think I was working on backgrounds last time. So with this one, so I'm just going to be nipping back and forth, because I'm just going to redraw this and work on a background. So yeah, I decided to do that when I'm comfortable putting one in one of my live stream sketchbooks. I'm just gonna do a few live streams. You never know, I mean, after this live stream I might feel confident enough to put it in a live stream. But I just think until I spend a bit more time on the graffiti work, I still need to put a picture of sort of these on that Facebook page. I still haven't done it yet, and get some feedback just to see if, you know, what people's opinions are. Do they work as graffiti pieces? Are there changes that I could make to maybe make it line up a bit more with that style? But yeah, I figured I'm not, if I don't put the time in practicing, then it's just going to fizzle out, and I don't want that to happen because it is genuinely like my favourite type to draw. Well, joint favourite at this point, but with all the black book and sketchbook drawings that I've been doing, like I'm starting to feel a lot more confident that I can just put one of those out anytime I want now. Like Tuesday's one, I didn't manage to get, what have I done here? Oh. Yeah, the one I did on Tuesday, like I didn't manage to get that done until quite late. And I was starting to feel a bit tired, a bit groggy, and a bit like, but I thought, no, that was Tuesday, that was the point of Tuesday. I got it out there, but I still managed to sort of put out a half decent one. I was actually quite happy with it in the end, and it didn't take that long. It wasn't deliberate, it was just, that's what I thought of drawing at the time, and that's the way it came out. So I feel quite confident drawing, putting out a sketchbook time-lapse at any time. And that's kind of where I want to get to with the graffiti stuff, where I'm just comfortable putting it out. I don't need to sort of have like I used to. I used to sort of build it up a bit too much, and I'd end up being disappointed. Whereas now I just feel like I can put stuff out that I'm happy with. But yeah, this isn't going to be one of those, it's a new series. It's not a new series, it's just the point of the sketchbook series, or whenever I put a time lapse out, I wanted to do one on a Tuesday and one on a Thursday. The point of scheduling it that way was I wanted to have a sketchbook and a graffiti piece, you know, dedicate one of them a day. And who knows, like if I got better then I could do more. But because I'm not 100% on my graffiti stuff yet, I thought, well, I don't just want to keep pumping out sketchbook stuff, because I do loads of it. Like I say, the 2 black book streams, the sketchbook. I mean, Friday is technically a sketchbook kind of drawing when I do the Arteza series. I already do a lot of that type of drawing. I'm not getting much time for graffiti stuff, so this slot of time is dedicated specifically to graffiti, and then when I get more comfortable with it, I'll put one out. That's a time lapse. Flipping chair. Coob, hello, nice there. Hello there, nice to catch a stream early for once. Wow, I was just saying, this wasn't intended to be a stream. Thursday's normally dedicated to sketchbooks. So these things, like I've got one for my normal sketchbook drawings and one of them's a graffiti. But I feel like I do quite a lot of sketchbook drawings at the minute. With the Black Book series, the Arteza series, the time lapse, even the A6 stuff when I get around to doing them, that I'm not dedicating a lot of time to graffiti work. So, and Thursday was going to be the slot where I do a time lapse of a graffiti piece. Tuesday would be the slot where I time lapse just a normal sketchbook drawing. So I thought, excuse me, I'll use the Thursday slot to just do graffiti, whether that be a stream or a time lapse. But I want to try and dedicate more time to it. Excuse me. Because I feel like if I neglect it, then, you know, I'm not going to produce any decent pieces. So the stream I did last time, I did these pieces, or carried on with these pieces. I did those two. I did some colour, experimenting with colour. I think I did something else. And I did that to play with the background. So I just want to carry that on, really. I'm not going to do the details for it, I'm just going to do the word. Need some WD-40 or something for this chair. I feel like anytime I move. Listen to it. It's ridiculous. Have I done that too top? I have, haven't I? It's not a big deal, but... So one of the things when I did this stream before was I kind of got the shapes of the letters down to how I wanted, but I didn't really know what to do with anything else. So the first two I did in my graffiti sketchbook for a time lapse, I wasn't massively happy with, because they'd start off well, but then I didn't know what to do after that. So the colours weren't really right, or the background was a bit off, and I thought that's because I just kind of got overexcited and started it without any thought, because the graffiti pieces are ones where I'm going to have to put some sort of thought and planning behind it to make them half decent. But yeah, what I'm going to do, what I might even do is I might just make Thursday graffiti day. Like, that's the day I'll dedicate, whether that be a time lapse or a live stream. That's just graffiti day. That's the day I do dedicate all to improving my graffiti work. Yeah, okay. Okay. But how are you, Coob, anyway? You alright? Let's darken this in a bit. I only just made the decision to do this stream about an hour ago as well, because I thought, I feel like I'm pumping out a lot of sketchbook style drawings, and I really wanted to do some graffiti work, but I thought I'm not I don't really want to do it as a time lapse, because good, thanks, bit of allergies giving me grief, but other than that I'm fine. You? Yeah, same, I'm alright. Just the usual, sometimes life catching up with you. Feel a bit knackered, but you've got to get on with it, haven't you? Hope your allergies aren't giving you too much grief. Yeah, tomorrow we've got the Arteza series. I think I'm going to do that in the morning. So I'll do that at about 11. I normally do it around 12. Yeah, I could do that around 12. No, I always do it at 12, don't I? So I'll do it at 12. And then after sort of dinner, after my tea and getting the kids from school, all that kind of stuff, I might do another stream at 7 and just carry on with this. Just always thinking about where can I put in some more work to do something. Because I don't want to do too many series of, as it were, different types of streams. I think I've got a good amount. Like I've got 3 live stream series. The Monday, the Black Book and the Arteza. Welcome to everybody who's in, by the way. If there's more than yourself, always good to see you, Coob. If there's anyone else in, hello. Thank you for joining. So I'm just going to leave that as that. I'm going to do a background for this. Give me 1 second. I forgot to put my reference up. So I like looking at other graffiti artists' work to sort of inspire me. I mentioned a graffiti artist called Modia, who specifically I really like the backgrounds that they do. They seem to work with simple shapes similar to me, and they just seem to sort of nail it. So just using inspiration. Obviously you don't want to copy them because it's not your work then, is it? You're just copying someone else's work. But the way they use really simple shapes, it's just so good. Like they seem to be able to make their work pop because their lettering is, again, it's actually quite simple, the way they do their lettering. And Medea, he tends to use, I'm assuming it's him, sorry if it's he or she, they tend to use like blocky colours, occasionally a gradient, but there's never like masses of detail within the letters, and the background is what makes it pop, and it's just simple shapes. And it's one of those where I think, how do you make such a nice background with simple shapes? So that one was an attempt to, can I use diagonal lines with basically blocky letters to see if that works. I'd make it a bit more interesting than that, but we'll see. I think I might give it a try here. So I really like hexagonal shapes, but on dot grid paper it doesn't sort of work as well, because to get a hexagon looking like where all sides are even, you've got to have like is it 30-degree angled paper where all the dots, all the lines are, is it 30 degrees? A 30 degree and a 60 or whatever it is. So then it's exact, whereas here it doesn't seem to work as well, so you've maybe got to improvise a little bit. Like if I had to do this, no, I'd have to do them all the same size. I don't think that works. Keep it simple for now. So like some of the best ones I've done in terms of background, I mentioned this one before. So it was just simple 3-line diagonal lines background with the colours, and it worked. There was the one that I'm thinking of in my sketchbook was this one. So I normally do I've referenced that picture a lot, but I normally do backgrounds like that. But there was one that I did that I thought worked really well, which was that one. Just vertical lines, and it just seemed to make it pop. And I think sometimes I try and overcomplicate it when I don't need to. So I might just try this. I might revisit hexagons and more complicated shapes later on, but for now, like in my other drawings, I don't think I need the background as much. Sometimes I can get away with just doing the main picture and not having a background at all, really. But I think with the type of graffiti that I'm trying to do, I think a background does make it pop a bit more. So like if I were to do something like this, just something as simple as that. Could maybe even, excuse me, the problem with this is because I'm just doing it all in pencil as well. Like the background is as dark as the main letters, so it's smothering it a little bit. But if I were to do that background, I wouldn't have a like an outline of it. That's just representing where the shapes would go. I'd probably just use a flat color. So if the main letters were blue, for example, I'd probably do the background like a yellow or an orange, a light orange. I mean, it's just to sort of see what it looks like. Excuse me. Something like that. And then maybe a softer sort of background, like, obviously I don't want to go too crazy with, in fact maybe not even that line, but just maybe something like this. Admittedly, that's not the best lines, but again, not the best lines, but you get the idea. Something like that. Doesn't have to be overly complicated, but just something that maybe highlights it a bit more. And I don't want to say that I've nailed backgrounds, but it's definitely an improvement. But there was one thing I thought I'll finish that because I did want to carry on with that. But there's one thing I want to try as well. So one of the problems I had with the first one I did here, where was it? So one of the problems I have with this one, like, I don't think it's awful. And as you can see, I tried to emulate the background I did on this one. Perhaps I picked the wrong colour, who knows. But one of the sort of techniques used in traditional graffiti is like the overlapping lines, so like there. And I tried to kind of focus too heavily on that, and merge it in with my style, and I don't think I made it work well. So what I mean is, so my sort of style is normally it will be an overlap, say something like this. I'll just overlap the lines, I'll overlap the shapes, and then I might do something underneath it. I don't know if you'd call that an underlap or what, but you get the idea. Like, it would be a clean overlap or block shape, and then I'd put my details sort of within that. Like, I'd maybe go up here and there, and I'd do some lines or what. You get the idea. So that would be how I draw my sketches. But with a lot of graffitis, it's kind of like that's a full overlap, but with a graffiti piece, it would always be something like this. You know, there'd be occasional sort of underlap like that or something, but for the most part, it was like this. And then you'd maybe do something like that. It's not to say that I couldn't make it work, but it just didn't feel like it was my style, or it didn't feel like it's how I would draw. So when I've tried to make the letters look more like traditional letters in that first drawing that I did. But yeah, I mean, I said it in the last stream, it wasn't a mess, but I was kind of fighting between two different styles. Like, I thought I had to make it a lot more traditional looking when I didn't really. Like, I could sort of do more my own thing, if you like. So what I wanted to do was have more of a play around with that. But what I would do, so normally like these, when I do like a sketchbook and I do shapes like this, what I would normally do, so that's just a very basic J. What I would normally do is I would normally detail really heavily inside that. But I think what would work better, if I'm sort of trying to improve, like make it more of a graffiti piece, is if I keep it like this, highlight the outlines, not highlight it but darken them in, you know what I mean. Maybe have some extra detail on the outside like this, like say I would normally do with my sketchbook drawings. But the further away from the letter itself is the sort of smaller and the more detailed it would be, but keeping the outline of the letter. And then what I would do is, I think before, what did I do? I still had sort of details like this, but I would make it follow the shape of the letter. So I'm still making it as detailed as I normally would, but you're still getting the sort of idea or you're still recognizing what the shape of the letter is. No, it doesn't work as an A. There's another artist called Dupe, who I really like. I comment on one of their pieces of work, and just like, almost like, how'd you do that? 4 people watching. That's a close to a record for me. Hello to everyone who's in here. Just trying to improve some graffiti lettering and talking through my thought process, because normally what I would do is dedicate this time to a time lapse in one of my sketchbooks. But one of the sketchbooks I do time lapses for is graffiti pieces, but I've not been happy with them, so I'm just trying to make improvements. See, the problem with that is that it could look like a H, so I need to do the arch. Maybe if I overlap it like this. Because there's a lot of traditional graffiti artists that I love. Like, I think Digital Does is one. His work's a joke. It's so good. But you would probably, again, it's a bit of a vague term, but associate his kind of style with more traditional, what you would associate traditional graffiti with. No, that looks like an R now, doesn't it? Let's start this letter again. Don't like it. And I think I tried to do that, but it's just not my style. So it's like, well, don't try and be something that you're not. If you've got a certain way that you like to do drawings, just go for it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to fill this page with lettering shapes and how to detail it, how it would best look. As I mentioned in other streams, one of my, I suppose, insecurities when I draw is I feel like I've got to overly detail certain parts of it when I don't. Like, don't be afraid to just leave certain spaces blank or black out a certain space. Oh, M's are always hard. Is that a bit too... could that work? Not sure. Excuse me. Oh, yeah, I wasn't really feeling. It's just one of those days that's kind of got you, not really feeling it. But I thought, no, I'll do something, I'll push through. Just try and draw every day. Could this work as an M? I'm going to order some more paper today, but it's going to be plain paper because I'm going to start actually drawing pieces to put in frames and put onto an online store. I'll put updates about that as well. Like, I think that works, personally. And then add extra details under it. I'm not feeling like doing anything today. God, I have too many of those days. Your M gave me an idea for a piece, but I don't have it in me to begin now. Trust me, man, I have days like that all the time where you're just like, nah. Yeah, today's been one of those days for me. But no, it's good that that's the whole gig, innit? It's like if something's inspired you, by all means, more than happy to help. But yeah, I need to get these on that sort of page just to see if I can get advice from people to say, just to sort of have a bit of help, like, you know, would this, could this qualify as a graffiti piece? I mean, I personally think it would, but you just never know. I think that bee's maybe a little busy. It looks more like an E. That looks too much like an E. Yeah, because of where I positioned it. Yeah, I just looked at it now and it looks too much like an E. I'll have to redraw that. That's the problem. That's exactly why I wanted to do these sessions more, to iron out stuff like this. It seemed to be creeping up in views and stuff recently, which is nice. I think I had the right idea with this part of the bee to start with. I think what I need to do is maybe this. Because I left the gap here, I mean, even though I know a bee is like this, and an E is just you're missing sort of these bits here. But I think that's what I need to do. I need to actually block the gap off here. I think what I've done in the past. Or oh, B is such a tough word. Tough word, tough letter. Because you can fall into the trap of it looking like an E, then fall into the trap of it looking like a 3. If you round it off too much, it's like an 8. I think my idea of a B was like this, because I'm working with blocky shapes, but that is how I kind of do it to distinct it more as a B as opposed to anything else. Because otherwise, if you do this, that just looks like an 8. If you do this and neglect the back bit, it looks like a 3. And then before, if you do this and neglect these two bits, it looks like an E. But yeah, B is, I'd say B is definitely the hardest letter. M you can get away with more because there's nothing else that an M looks like if you manipulate it a bit more, whereas a B can look like other things. Maybe if I back it up there. Oh no, that wouldn't, no, what would it? Right, I think that can work as well, because this particular, like if I'm doing pieces in the future, what I'm trying to do here is make letters from just pure closed blocks like this, four-sided shapes, whether it be squares, rectangles, or whatever, and not more polygonal shapes like that, where there's like an L or something like that. I'm trying to make it all from just four-sided blocks. I've just remembered as well, my kids are off next week, so that will hopefully free up a bit more time. So I'm not having to sort of rearrange the day around sort of picking them up and all that kind of stuff. I can sort of do this a bit more. And what I always try and do with the details here, so with these particular pieces, I'm trying to follow, it's not a rule, but the way I detail, again, I'll use the orange one because that's probably the best example of this. Well, even the first one that I ever did, the way that I detailed these pieces, like the orange one here, even this one here, this one, that one to a degree, is all the details for these particular ones. I'm following the sort of shape, so it's like a lot of U shapes, and then I'll kind of fill in certain gaps with lines. And if I follow that rule for these pieces, but I use the detail to follow the line of the letter, so with the J I've tried to kind of do it there, the A I've tried to do it there, the M I could works a bit on the B, but you kind of see what I'm trying to do. So I'm still able to put the sort of detail in as I normally would, but it kind of follows the sort of lines of the letters. Got to be careful with A's as well. One of the traps I sometimes fall in with the letter A, especially this particular letter on this side, is making it look too much like an R. Like even like there, I'll fall into a trap a little bit of making it look like an R. My daughter is obsessed with singing Peaches from the Super Mario film at the minute. Well, there you go. It just doesn't have to be complicated. There you go. Do that. Going to play some Rocket League with a couple of friends. I'll watch the rest of the stream once I feel like drawing. Take care. Thank you very much, Koo, for joining and watching. Enjoy your Rocket League session. Oh, I feel really thirsty. Don't know what it is about live streaming as well. I think I prefer it. There just doesn't seem to be as much pressure on it. I can just come in here, have a good time. Good thing about ours is you can get away with certain things like this. You don't necessarily have to have a back to it. It's a little bit more abstract than the other letters, but and then again, if I just sort of follow. And even if I have sort of a piece that starts off to the left a bit more, maybe I could develop maybe details out this way a little bit more. Yeah, maybe something like that. not the cleanest lines, but again, it's just trying to show an idea. I have 2 likes as well. It's above average for me. So what I'll do, because normally what I do with these kind of drawings as well, much like my sketchbook drawings, I'll do sort of the minier, the sort of smaller details around it. And then blacken, darken in some of the sort of spaces like this. I think it was even in this book I did how I would actually draw out the letters. Where are you? Forgive me if this has been a bit of a slow stream, this, like I'm kind of stopping and starting, so I just feel a little exhausted today. But I thought I need to get something out. Not even just content on YouTube, but I need to draw. Just to kind of not get any fade. I want my days off for Saturday and Sunday, if you like. Where the hell are they? I did... Oh, that's another start, the 3D. Where they overlap, I quite like that. Where are you? I did... Unless it was in the other sketchbook. It must be, right, it must be in here. I did like a step-by-step. It was not the same as, thank you for sharing your talent. Your title is very cool. Oh, thank you very much. Is it Vigilum? Thanks for joining and thanks for your comment. I'm seeing more and more people comment on my stream, which is nice. So welcome in. I'm glad you like my my work. Just trying my best, you know. That's all I'm doing. Just trying my best to make interesting stuff. What I'm looking for at the minute is, because I'm trying to improve my graffiti work, and I did like a mini sort of step-by-step. Where is it? I think I did it in here and I was meant to do it in the other one. That was the backgrounds I did from the stream before. Here. Gotcha. Right, so... Oh no, that was for my sketchbook. What am I doing? Rotring is great. Yeah, I agree. The Rotring pencils are kick-ass. They're my favourite ones. Oh, it's here. Oh, that's when I first started to do it. But yeah, Rotring are definitely my favourite pencils to work with. I've got Pentel as well, which are really good, but Rotring is definitely great. Anyway, right, enough faffing. Basically, the point of this was I would do, because I tried to apply this to a letter. This didn't work exactly the same way as my other sketchbook stuff did, but it was get down, the square would represent a letter. Then I would do an inline, so there, an outline, 3D, shadow, and a background, but I just to have one shape. So it's trying to get back to basics with this, but I'm trying to combine this with my sketchbook drawings, and it's just proven quite hard. So what we'll try and do, I'm going to use, oops, so that was the main inspiration. think what we'll do again here is, I can't remember, was it 28? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. But it's, yeah, it's close enough. Right. So I'm just going to put that there. Could I be a bit more adventurous with certain shapes? So with the M, like the M on that piece that was there was a mess. So if I were to draw, let's try this. If I were to draw a normal sketchbook drawing, let's start with just a square. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like this, let's say. A big old square. And what I would normally do is when I would have overlapping squares, I would do a detail or a pattern like this, wouldn't I? I would kind of go in, make a U shape out of it, detail it. Like this. And then I would put sort of my details in the middle of it. Difficult things with an M, especially when I'm doing it in a block form, it's like this, isn't it? And that seems a little bit plain Jane. But it just looks a bit boring, doesn't it? Like if I do that. Like I can make an A work a bit better and a B work a little bit better. Could I get away? I'm just looking at what I've done with the B on that other piece. Could I get away with doing this? And then maybe... So I'm still following and then detail it in the way that I normally would. Could I perhaps maybe as well I'm talking about overlapping before, could I no, because I don't think that would work. Maybe for this part of the M? Like overlapping like that. No, I just don't think it suits. I just don't think it suits the style of drawing. Could I maybe do this? And if I detail it this way, perhaps. You kind of be... But the problem is that when it's a block like that... Well, I don't know. Why not? I mean, on my cheat sheet for my other sketchbooks, one of them is just squares. Like, why couldn't I line up? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why couldn't I do that? After all, if I'm trying to realistically kind of blend it with my own work, why not? Have the A. Like so. Could I maybe... And I could perhaps... See, the J is a bit more complicated. Well, maybe not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good thing about the J is because it's the letter at the end, it doesn't matter if there's a bit of empty space there, in my opinion. For the A, you can just do the same deal as this one, but move sort of the block up like this. Yeah, I think the way I'm going to do it is use the detail to kind of follow the direction of the letter. Because I really want to make this style work, but it is pretty difficult. And with the R, because that line there is cut off short, it kind of works. So I think the insecurity I've got is that I look at that and think, oh, is that a bit too? Is it a bit too plain? Is it a bit too simple? Is it a bit too? I don't know, basic, but like a good book to have is, some people might already know, this book here called Street Fonts. Amazing book, so many. So again, one of the inspirators, there's a graffiti artist called Zeds. So this guy, like, I mean, I'm sure you can see some inspiration, you know, drawn from this artist, which there clearly is. But it's kind of weird. It's like I look at their letters that they've done, and like they're very simple, but they just look great. Like the way the 3D effect, the simple colours, the simple shapes. And I think I'm trying to draw out some work for mine in that kind of way. There's another artist called Nerd, I think. Again, Nerf, sorry. I mean, look at that. It's just gorgeous. Again, just simple block shapes. And like, obviously I don't do it at a isometric angle, but again, that, in fact, Nerf, it was his art that inspired this. And I love that. Like, that's one of my favourite pieces I've done. But I don't know what it is. I don't know why I think what I need to do is I need to do a fully fleshed out piece. What I might do is I might use this book here to practice and draw out like a fully fleshed out piece, like I've done before, and then see if it works. Because what I'm doing in this sort of scrapbook, if you like, is I'm playing around, having fun, testing new things out, but there's no sort of finished piece. It's just all ideas at this point. Whereas I think what I need to do, and I might even do that next Thursday, or at the weekend if we've got, probably at the weekend I'm out on Saturday, taking the kid to football. The kid, like he's a pooch. My son and I are going to watch football. Yeah, I think maybe I need to do that. What I might do now, I'm going to do one more piece, because I wanted to focus on the sort of more blocky, because I think I've got the sort of shape of the letters with this kind of more angular stuff. I'm quite happy with, like, I don't think I need to do much more with that. But I think with the blocky shapes, the more square and rectangular stuff, I still feel like I need to just sort of flesh out the ideas a little bit more. So I'm just going to try a few more things, and then I'll be done with this session. But again, I've enjoyed it. What I need to do is I need to put these pieces on that Facebook page, and ask for some feedback, I think, and just to ask, hey, ladies and gents, is there anything you would do here differently? Would you qualify this? This is going to be a quicker sketch because I'm just trying to get the idea down and see how it looks overall. It's like in other drawings that I've done before, like the idea of just putting the grill down. It's kind of weird, like sometimes I'll think I'll need to add more detail, sometimes I'll think there needs to be less detail. It's just finding that balance of when's best to add more bits and pieces in and when's best to just keep it simple. Like just a bit of extra detail here, for example. The dreaded bee. That looks a bit dozy, doesn't it? I'm not happy with that, but I suppose it'll do. B is such a difficult letter. I suppose what I could do, if I just panel it out maybe like that. Oh, that'll have to do. So I'm just... I'll just do the same in reverse on this side. Shut up, chair. Noisy bugger. bugger. And then yet again, like, bloody hell, bloody water on my hand. It's a good job I'm not drawing in proper ink. But yeah, and then add all the usual details afterwards, but never mind about that. You can tell I'm getting a bit lethargic. These lines look like an ass, but it's more just to get over the point of what I'm trying to make. Now, I'd neaten out that the effect I'm trying to go for there is basically this. But what I've done here a bit better is I've obviously shaded in the sort of grill, whatever you want to call it. Put the details underneath with the wire and stuff. That, to me, is a really simple idea that I think works as a drawing. The only failure here, failure is maybe a bit harsh, is I've not fleshed out the letter. You can't really see that, can you? I've not fleshed out the letters enough, so you can kind of see a J. You can see an A there. These three blocks sort of represent an M. That was meant to be the B, but it's too meh. The R is the only real letter there that you could probably say is an R. So this is an example of where I think there's a good idea in here. Like, because I think overall the drawing's actually nice. I think it's a nice drawing, but I haven't really tightened up the lettering in it. So it just looks like an ordinary sketchbook drawing I do. The letters aren't distinct enough to really qualify it as a graffiti drawing, in my opinion. There are people who are far more knowledgeable on this than me, but I think there's kind of like the birth of an idea in here somewhere. So I've tried to kind of make it here a bit more where the letters are a bit more distinct. And obviously the details and everything else would come afterwards. I think what I might do, so like I said before, Thursday would normally be a day where I time-lapse a drawing. But in the week, I'm already doing loads and loads of sketchbook drawings. So I'm already doing loads and loads of drawings like this. So Monday, I've got the Black Book series. Tuesday, I do a time-lapse in here with an A6 drawing normally. Wednesday is another day where I do a drawing like that in the Black Book. Thursday, again, would be a time-lapse drawing. Friday, there's the Arteza. So pretty much all of the drawings I do are like that. And I'm not dedicating enough time to graffiti stuff. And Thursday is when I would want to put a graffiti time-lapse out. So what I'm going to do, so the Monday stream and probably Thursday, I'll dedicate, and any time I get in between, I'll probably do it. I'll dedicate time to doing graffiti stuff to try and improve it. Because I really do want to get more into graffiti drawing. Your work is so good, inspiring your signature. Thank you very much, Vigilum. I do appreciate that a lot. Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you like my work. I'm just trying to tighten up sort of. I really want to get better at graffiti artwork because it's my favourite type of artwork, or my joint favourite type of artwork. But I've not been happy with what I've been putting out. It's just not quite there. There's just something missing. But I really want to combine my normal sketchbook work with graffiti work, and it's just trying to knit them two together and create something that would work as a graffiti piece. And like I said, there's bits and pieces of ideas that I've done that I really like, but it's just not quite there. I would say the only one that I've done that I think works fully is this one. That's the only one I've done, I would say, that I think works as a graffiti piece. Like, I've nailed the shape of the letters, the colour, the detailing. I nearly nailed it with this one, nearly, but the M is just a jumbled mess, so it doesn't look like anything. And it's just practicing and practicing and practicing. So I think I'm just going to try and dedicate a little bit more time to doing graffiti work, so I can use one of the time-lapse slots specifically on a Thursday to get more out there. I'm going to put these drawings in some of the other ones I did. So there was these, there was those two, that one there. Was there another one? These pieces, where were the other ones that I did? So that one was the coloured one. Ah, here. And those ones. So I did those. I'll thicken out the lines a bit on this one just so you can see it. But I was going to put these up on a website just to get a bit of feedback, to just say, look, does this work as graffiti work? There are other artists out there who do more what would be described as abstract graffiti. I've mentioned them, like Medea, Dupe 77's one, DRMLZ. It's not your traditional sort of graffiti. So would it can I sort of pull some work off like that? But I just need to work on little things like the detailing, the background specifically, and the colours. Like, say, that sort of that neon orange and pink one, that was the only one where I nailed it. There's been other times where the colours haven't worked. The first one I did in my new graffiti book didn't work. It just took over a bit too much. So that's where we're at with this. So Thursdays, I think from now on I'll be doing more. I'll carry on with streams like this until I've nailed what I think is a good enough, where I'm somewhere good enough to time lapse it again. And what I might do next Thursday is what I used to do on my graffiti pieces in here. I might just do a fully fleshed out graffiti piece and just record it in real time and then see what people think at the end. And if people, if I get good enough feedback, if there's other things I can do, then I'll start time lapsing them. I might even do another. I may do another series. Who knows, if there's time and all that kind of stuff. But I'll leave the live stream there. Thank you to everybody who joined. Thank you, Vigilum, for your kind words. Thank you for joining. Coob, as always, thank you for joining. Thank you for whoever liked. Anyone who does watch this in the future, any likes, subscribes, all that stuff really does go towards helping the channel, helping me sort of in general. As I say, my goal is to basically have this as my job. That's the goal. That's the end game. So any help appreciated. But until next time, there's the Arteza series tomorrow. I'll be doing that at 12. I might even, depending on the evening, I might even carry on with doing some more sketches like this. But my Arteza series, anyone sort of watching, it's just where I pick a cut. It's where I use every colour of a selection of pens that I've got and draw stuff like that. 12 o'clock tomorrow, and then if I get time at the weekend, I might do something. Otherwise, it's Monday to Friday. Time lapse is cool, but interaction is also great. Yeah, that exactly. But I think doing both. That's why I, I wanted to do both, because on Monday, every Monday, I would, after the weekend, I would just scribble away in my sketchbook and my scrapbook, just to sort of warm up again. And I just thought, why not document it? It's just something different for people to watch. And I've had a few people say they've got ideas from it, and that's what you want, isn't it? But I hope to see you again, Vigilant. Again, thanks for joining. But I'm going to sign off. Hopefully see you tomorrow for the Artaza series. Thanks again for watching. I'll catch you later.